Whew. Welcome to the Practical Pistol Show, people. My name is Ben, here to answer your shooting questions. On deck today, Mr. Jeff Chang.
Hello.
Coming at you from Edmonton, which is in Canada.
Yes.
I bet most Americans couldn't tell you what province that's in.
What's a province?
Exactly. Mr. Hopkins, Kansas City, and Kim.
Hi.
Hanchik from... Well, you're not really in... I always think that you live in Seattle, but you really don't.
No, I'm closer to Vancouver than Seattle.
You're basically Canada.
Yeah.
You're
15
basically
minutes.
Canadian. Well, people would say I'm basically Canadian, too. Right? Even though I don't know what it is to drive to Canada for me, I imagine it'd be at least 6-8 hours to the border from where I'm at, because we have some lakes to go around, so, you know, it's kind of a problem. All right, anyway, let's get to the questions. I've been dry fire training quite a bit lately, averaging 5 days a week, anywhere from 15 to 45 minutes per session, and have seen my skills in general improving. The hardest part I've found is the consistency of my reloads is quite honestly garbage. My time is drastically reduced from 2 seconds a year ago to about 1 second in dry fire if I nail it. He put if in like caps. If I nail it. I try to do a bit of work on reloads every session. Do you have any tips to help me get a more consistent reload? Shooting a CZ Shadow in production, by the way. Thanks. Kim, how does he get a more consistent reload?
Yeah, so when I shot Shadow 1, I was...
That's what they're called, by the way.
Yeah. So I didn't realize how important the consistency of the reload is until I shot Stock 2. Because Stock 2 has a little bit of sharp edges on the magwell. So if you don't angle it correctly, it would not go in. But Shadow 2 has really beveled magwell from the factory. So it's a little easier. So when I shot Shadow 1, my reload success rate was probably like 90-95%, but when I went to Stock 2 with the same technique, it went down to like, I don't know, 60, something like that. So basically I analyzed my reload technique, and then what I was doing at the time was just grab the magazine from the mag pouch as fast as possible and shove it into the magwell as fast as possible.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah, but after I started shooting Stock 2, I kind of slowed down right before the magazine goes into the magwell. So I am actually being really fast onto grabbing the magwell and coming up near the magwell. But right before it actually goes in, it's more of a controlled speed instead of trying to punch somebody. So after I changed that, I went back to Shadow 2, and then my success rate went up a little better. So I think it is sometimes better to actually slow a little bit down and have a control speed right before the magazine goes into the magwell. So when you slow down, not slow down, but that control pace, you have more time or more space to angle it correctly, angle your magazine correctly to the magwell, and also your magwell. So left hand and right hand angle it correctly to each other. So the insertion is straight in instead of, I don't know what the angle was, kind of speed.
Yes, that's a big tip that I have. You know, I frequently make that correction on people, how they angle the gun. All right, Hoppy Cakes, what do you think? How do you improve reload consistency?
The consistency is going to come with more practice on it. Like, he's just now developed the speed where he wants it to be. It's going to take a lot of practice and reps to actually get the consistency there.
Yeah.
Like, he's seeing it sometimes when he says if. Like, that's only going to build up if he just keeps working at it.
Jeffy, what do you think?
I think it's important to spot which part of the reload sequence he's having issues with.
So you're talking like Kim right now, like analyze your technique, all that.
Yeah, I mean, in your dry fire book, you do break down the reload in different components.
Well, yeah, motherfucker.
And I think it's important to practice each of those components and to see where the fuck-ups actually occur. And it's focusing on getting that part correct and then integrating that back into the whole sequence. And then actually doing that stuff on the move rather than just static, as one usually does in dry fire.
Yeah. Well, one thing I would add to the stuff you guys are saying is take away the timer a little bit. Like, think about that. So, a lot of times guys get to the fast reload if they nail it level and then kind of struggle with that. And what gives you an opportunity to focus on technique is where you're not fussing about a tenth of a second here or there. Just take the timer away and be like, okay, I'm going to nail 5 in a row. 5 reloads in a row, and then it becomes 10 in a row. And it's like, okay, I want to be able to work back through the magazines on my belt and just do good, clean reloads every time. I wanted to be able to move around and do clean reloads where you just, don't worry about the time. Just be able to do it clean, and then you can always go back to the time. Because what I kind of find is if you're not worried about the time part, really the only thing left to worry about is the execution, and just focus on executing it well. Pay attention to your technique. Pay attention to how, like you guys are saying, pay attention to like what's going wrong. Is the magazine consistently banging on the frame in the wrong spot, in like the same wrong spot? Then you can, like Kim's saying, adjust how you angle the gun, because you're going to see it's the persistent issue. Yeah, definitely. Anything to add to that, gentlemen? Of course not. Fucking guys. This next question is a bit more complicated. When flying to an overseas match, what steps do you need to take to get your guns and ammunition into the foreign country and back into the U.S.? Do you use a brokerage firm or a carnet? Or do the matches set up a system to make it easier? I'm a lowly B-class guy, so probably not shooting the world shoot anytime soon, but I'm genuinely interested in what it takes. So just for the record, all of us have shot in a country that we don't live in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. On more than one occasion, I think. Except for maybe you, Kim. Have you just went to World Shoot? Good?
Canada.
Oh,
Canada.
Canada, of course. That's not an easy country either to get into. All right. So, what do you have to do to go into the foreign country with your shit? Jeff, you want to lead off?
I find most of the problems actually, or most of the potential issues, are in the country you're going to. Just because you're not really familiar with it. Leaving with your guns never seem to be an issue. All the times I've left Canada, it's relatively pain-free. Entering the States, leaving the States, same thing. So when I went to Worlds, entering Paris was pretty easy.
France is an easy country.
Yeah, and I actually left in Germany, and that was a lot more difficult.
Yeah, I transited Germany once with a gun in the same situation, and it was a lot of emails.
Yeah.
Because you were transiting, you didn't shoot a match in Germany, and you wanted to have your gun in Germany, that's going to be your issue. Yeah.
I'd say the best thing you can do is, as much as possible, have a direct flight leaving your country to the destination country in one go. So non-stop, no transfers. I think this makes things easier.
I have been almost arrested on more than one occasion in a country I'm transiting in.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not fucking around with them with the laws, but, still, they're like, we scanned your bag and found a gun, sir. It's like, yeah. I'm not entering your country, so what are you? Okay. Anyway, Hopkins, what do you think?
There's some set stuff. I don't know what a carnet is, and I don't know what a brokerage firm would do for you. Never
Okay,
had to
so
use
clearly
that.
you do not use those things, right?
Yeah, no, not at all. I have no clue how they would even work. Like, how would a brokerage firm do anything for you?
I think you're sort of hiring somebody to handle the nonsense on your behalf.
Oh. Okay.
I know for us, the Canadians had a person handle most of their ammo. So I know for Worlds, a lot of Canadians had one person basically forward all the ammo to France. I just brought it with me. I don't know how you guys did it.
I brought it with me.
I took mine with me.
Yeah.
What I found with any
Mm-hmm.
sort of a customs issue, you're going to have an easier time if you, like, whatever shit you're trying to bring accompanies you in your bags, because the custom guys just do not have time to go through everyone's stuff. They don't.
Yeah.
So the incentive's not there to do it. If you're mailing stuff from one country to another, inspection becomes a lot easier. So there's more potential for issues. Anyway, Hopkins, what were you going to say?
We had people that shipped a pallet of ammo for the World Shoot here.
Did you
It was
take them
very
up on
expensive.
that?
Nope.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Worst case, I would have bought a case at the range, which would have been less than what it cost to ship my own ammo on the pallet. But shooting minor, I had that option. If you were shooting like major, like 38 Super, you're probably less likely to be able to do that.
Yeah. Kim, what have you found?
So interesting thing is, well, Paris was just super easy. It felt like I was going to another state. But when I went to Canada, there was way more paperwork. I had to call the Canadian cops, whatever, Royal cops, whatever it was
Royal Canadian
called.
Mounted Police, they colloquially are known as moose fuckers. And they
Yeah.
appreciate it if you refer to them as such.
And then coming back to the U.S. after the match, I actually went to Canadian match through the border driving. And when I came back from the World Shoot, it was way easy. The SeaTac airport, the guys were kind of chill, and they were asking, hey, how'd you shoot, kind of thing. They didn't really do a lot of stuff.
Wait, at SeaTac when you returned from World Shoot?
Yeah,
Wait, was that your customs port of entry?
yes.
Oh,
I had a straight flight.
Straight flight from Paris to SeaTac?
Yes.
Nice.
Oh,
It was really
interesting.
nice.
So, did they ask if you had a gun?
Yeah.
Wait,
So-
what's your citizenship status exactly?
Korea, South Korea.
Right, but so you're a permanent, or like a green card guy, or
Yeah, I'm a green card guy. It's a slightly different, but not much different than the citizen people. So they basically opened up and like checked my gun and looked at my gun and was like, "Oh, this is a cool gun, Walter." Yeah, I did
how
well.
it's
They
not
didn't
on
know
the
shit about guns.
It's not on the declaration that you have a gun, though.
It does. I have the entry form,
Oh,
right?
you have the non-citizen. Oh, fuck. Yeah, because for citizens, they don't ask us if we have a gun. So that's
Oh,
not
they-
something I mention.
Yeah,
Typically.
they did to me.
What were you doing in
So-
France? Tourism. Okay. See ya.
Yeah, so when I entered, they wanted to see my gun. They actually opened the hard case and, take the gun out too and like wreck it, not to pull the trigger, but look at the gun serial number and all that stuff. But then when I was coming back from Canada through the driving border, they actually asked a lot of questions, and also one of them was, I think the guy who interviewed me didn't know a lot about difference between non-immigrants and immigrants, so green card holders and non-green card holders. So there was a little bit of issue, and he wanted to basically like demand more paperwork, which I didn't need to, but that was a bet. But one thing I found recently, I'm planning on going to Thailand. There's no straight flight to Thailand from in Seattle.
Nope.
Yeah.
And so there was only a couple options. There was China, Korea, Japan, and Taiwan to transfer.
I think
And-
Taiwan's your safe bet, right?
Yeah, that's what I heard on a forum.
Yeah.
But one of the national champion lady lives close to me, and then the lady actually gave me some advices because she shot multiple warshoots, and then she said one of her friends who tried to shoot warshot long time ago had a transfer in China and got gun pointed at and got detained for 24 hours. So everybody says don't go to China.
Well, I don't know why you'd want to go there anyway. You could ask Jeff, but
Yeah, if you want to transfer, if it's not a straight flight, you really need to do some research on the country that you need to transfer.
yeah. Okay.
So that happened to me, actually.
But they wouldn't let you on the plane.
They wouldn't let my guns on the plane because I didn't have the right permit in my transfer city,
For the
which was
Netherlands.
Amsterdam, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I got to think about what advice I could give here. So, how do you get into a foreign country and back into the U.S.? So, in the U.S., and a lot of times in almost every time in foreign countries, they're going to want to see your gun license or proof that you legally own a gun. A gun license is not a thing we have in most states. You have a concealed carry permit, something like that, but an actual license to own a gun is not a thing that most people have. So conveniently enough for U.S. citizens, if you go to a customs office, which is going to be at like an international airport, we'll have a customs office. If you go there, You can bring your gun or any other valuable shit with you. You can bring that with you and then fill out paperwork there. It's really quick. It takes about 5 minutes where you kind of register proving that you own the item. That's an important piece of paper to have because when you come back into the U.S., the customs people don't really give a shit that you have a gun, but they might want you to prove that you owned it when you left, to prove that you're not importing it, because then there's tax issues or regulatory issues with that. That same piece of paper, most countries will take that. So if they're like, hey, let me see your gun license, or they want to see some piece of paper that says U.S. government, your name, and the gun serial number on it. That piece of paper will work. So you don't have to pay any money for it or anything. You just go to the customs office with your guns and you're going to get a piece of paper basically proving that you own the gun, which is going to be very useful. So you want that. And then for the foreign country you're going to, you want to contact somebody that shoots IPSC in that country. Typically that'll be like a match director or a regional director or something. And they will kind of tell you what you need to know for that country. Some countries are super easy, like France. Some countries are a pain in the dick hole, like Canada. It just depends on the country. And you're going to have to go through whatever process that is for the country. I recommend doing this long in advance before you're going to travel there. And yeah, so they fill out all the stuff, and then you'll have that paperwork with you. Then when you show up at the border, you just declare that you have the gun, and the customs people, I've never been to a country where they actually knew what to do. Aside from France, because they had World Shoot going on, so there's 1,000 people going there. And in Greece, the customs people kind of knew what to do because they had 1,000 people going there. But aside from that, I've never walked up to a border crossing and then you go to the red line and I have this gun, and it's like a quick process. It's going to be a while. They have to figure out what the fuck is going on because guns are not a common thing there. And then you just, I have this thing, and, okay, then they'll take care of it. And that's just based on what the process is for that country and what the regional director there or the match director, they tell you to do. Matches are absolutely set up to make this easier in any country that isn't the U.S. So a match invitation is a very common piece of paper. What that is your reason to have a gun in the country you're going to. And especially in Europe, like a match invitation is a very common piece of paper that matches will have made available to you where, so you have proof that you own the gun. You have this match invitation. That's your reason to have the gun in that country. And there might be some other paperwork. There might not be, depending on the country you're going to. But that's usually the stuff that you need for any country you're going to. That's about right, isn't it, Matt?
Yeah, I think so. I think we had to fill out one extra form when we landed in Paris, right?
For us, yeah, that was not part of French law even.
But it's easier to fill that out because the person that's doing it at the time thinks you got to do it, so you can just get done with it.
We're going to fill it out, but I think they added that process because World Shoot was there.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, it really very much depends on the country, but the people kind of on the other side are going to be very helpful because they'll probably want you to go to their match. So I've found people in whatever country I'm going to be very helpful, and I've gone to quite a few different countries with guns, and it's something that understandably makes people very nervous. But if you just walk up to a border crossing, you have the paperwork that you need, or and you're like, yeah, I have this gun, and kind of they will sort it out. And if anything fucking crazy happens, I can't imagine, the worst they would do is maybe not let you into the country. I don't know what they're going to do. Provided you follow all the laws.
They could seize the gun probably. That's probably the worst thing they could do.
Yeah.
But they'd still have to let you in, I think, after they took the gun, right?
I guess. It depends on the country.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not something you need even to get other people involved in aside from your match director or regional director in another country. Especially if you're going to Europe, the countries there are small enough that it might be the regional director of 200 people. So it's not like sending Foley an email where he's got 30,000 members to worry about. This is going to be a guy that doesn't have a huge organization to run, and is commonly people from other countries are going to be asking these questions. So it's not something you want to worry about a whole lot. Just get on it early and take care of it. And even if you don't get on it early, going to Canada, I've been kind of late to the party to get my paperwork sorted out, and the people at the firearms office have always been very kind to me. Where it's like, I call them up and then I'm like, yeah, I need this like now, unfortunately. And then they'll like get it done that day. So that's been helpful too. You had the same experience, right, Kim, when you went to Canada?
Yeah, they actually told me it will take about 5 business days. And then I said, oh, the match starts in 3 days. And then they sent me probably a couple hours later.
Yeah, they just did it right then.
Yeah.
But I mean, I found the Canadians to be quite nice people. Jeff aside, and the rest of them are cool. All right, one more question. This one's for you, Hopkins.
Yeah.
I have dry fire reloaded for the Kindle, and I've been dry firing quite a bit. Love it. I also have a laser bullet training device thing. That's exactly how he wrote it, too. It's great. It makes it very easy to see my hits on the target, but only during double action when the firing pin hits the device. Would it be bad to do all my dry fire training double action only? Oh, by the way, I'm training with a CZ Shadow, too.
I mean, we've answered this question 100 times.
Would it be bad to do all of his dry fire training double action only?
I'd say yeah.
Yeah, yes. It is bad to do all of your like training different to what you're going to do in a match. Absolutely. I mean,
the laser thing we've also addressed that. It's
the
like,
laser thing is
you're
not
not gonna
super
you shouldn't be
helpful.
looking at where the dot laser goes. You should be looking at the sight.
Yes, but the laser thing's not helpful, and doing all your dry fire double action is actually harmful. So please don't do this. Kim, you got anything to add to that?
Isn't he talking about, the gun shoots the laser and the device reads what hit it was and then check the scores later?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I've seen one of those. I think the concept is pretty interesting because you can do something like shooting on the move, and in your dry fire, it's really hard to tell. So it's something that I really prefer to do in live fire. But if you have a laser that can read and score afterwards, I think the concept is good in that case. But the double action, no, not. You gotta do single action too.
Okay. Jeff, anything to add to that?
I've seen some of those laser targets that are reactive, and that if you hit them, they make a sound or something.
This isn't really the guy's question, though. He's asking about the double action trigger thing.
Well, don't do it.
You're like, no, hard pass.
I mean, really, conceptually, it's the same issue between the laser device and the double action, in that when you're actually shooting, you don't always shoot in double action. And when you're shooting, you don't get something that gives you instant feedback on your hits. And if you're looking at your target for the hits like you would a laser, then you're doing it wrong. So learn to call the shots and learn to read the sights and make sure that the shot, you're pulling the trigger properly. And that will translate into live fire and confirm with live fire.
Yeah, right on. Thank you, Jeff, so much. Been very instructive. All right, gentlemen, that's it for today. Thank you all so much for coming on. Listeners, if you have a question you want the answer to, go to benstoker.com, send me your question. Love to answer it for you. All these guys are always, pitching a tent, ready to answer some questions. So, love it.